So over 2 months ago, I released my first video. And just before that, I had a Sony A7 III sitting in a shopping cart ready to buy. I paused and I closed the page. It was going to be the perfect camera to help start this journey, right? But honestly, what a costly waste of time that would have been. It would have doubled the time it took me to release my first video, and it would have added even more complexity to what was already complicated, right? And deviate from what I was actually trying to do, which is obviously tell stories that actually inspire. So I reverted back to my iPhone 16 Pro Max. Most YouTube advice you hear comes from people with thousands, sometimes millions of subscribers. But I wanted to kind of like share something different, what it actually feels like to start from zero, like when you're actually in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? Not knowing where to begin, having a few ideas, but no clear focus. And I mean like zero, no gear experience, no storytelling experience, no framework in which to do so. No idea of actually even positioning your camera or even set up your lights and things like that, right? No clue what niches and all that sort of stuff. So I watched countless videos, I read posts, blogs, articles from various creators in the industry and stuff like that. But it boils down to the simplest of things, right? Lights, mic, tripod. In the story. So I picked my phone, I shot my first video, and it looked nothing like the script. But even then, it felt like a milestone because even though I didn't post it, I know what I needed to learn from it. The sound was bad, the lighting was poor, the story was terrible, way off. And none of it really made sense. I needed to learn to ask the right questions, how to hold my camera properly, how to capture the scene, you know what I mean, how to position all the whole things around composition. And then I found content creator 14-day filmmaker course. It's not an advert for them, but it just gave me sort of the fundamentals to understand what light is, composition, how to edit, file formats, color, white balance, and all that stuff that is sort of alien to newbies. I'm a technologist at heart, right? I might trade, so conceptually, I can understand these things. But for those who aren't, it really boils down to three things. Your light, capture the audio, frame the shot. With those basics, bought a tripod, bought a mic, and bought some lights. Cheap lights. And contrary to what you might hear, the gear does actually matter. Just don't buy expensive stuff yet you're not capable of actually utilizing or maximizing. Do you know what I mean? So I got the basics. Still felt unprepared though. Still unsatisfied. But I did some introspection. Just kind of like thinking, is this how do I want to do this? You know what I mean? Nonetheless, I did that and I just hit record. Boy, our first upload was brutal. Like, when I watch myself back on screen, when you watch yourself back on screen, notice everything. Your your mannerism, your hand gestures, the awkward pauses you don't have the words to actually fill. And it drags on forever. It's uncomfortable, but it's also the fastest way to learn how to sort of get to the next stage, which is by doing. The more I filmed and practiced, the more I realized that it isn't just about looking perfect. It's about how do I connect what I'm saying to the person I'm trying to sit on the other side of the camera, do you know what I mean? So when I try to be, natural on camera at times, it wasn't intuitive to who I really was, and it felt forced. It felt like I was being dishonest. Talking about how I moved countries, how I started afresh, balance and things like that. It was all part of building that expertise and know-how. And even with 7 subscribers, which don't sound like much, at this stage, every single one sort of matters. Every moment feels huge. Every view feels like a gift, right? And it's not the numbers on the dashboard. It's the people choosing to show up, which shows that you're actually doing something, even if it's just one person. And that mindset shift is kind of what keeps me going. You know what I mean? So going the course, and I'm still figuring things out. And cadence between family, work-life balance, commitments and stuff like that, it's harder than I thought. It will be harder than you thought. And then you have storage issues if you do decide to shoot in ProRes, which is just the format for your phone. And even with the 30-minute day philosophy, which is about doing things 30 minutes a day, something I've talked about in one of my other videos, even adopting those sort of methodologies still makes it quite different, but it's still the mindset shift nonetheless, because you do have to put the time aside in order to achieve those goals. Do you know what I mean? Time is everything. And it's so easy to chase instant gratification, especially when the results aren't actually visible yet. So be patient. So patience actually becomes a skill. And at least my saving grace. And it constantly reminds me to just keep at it. So as you probably would see, my cadence is still inconsistent. And that's just a testament to just trying to figure out how to actually do this right. And that's ultimately the goal, right? The journey. Every video feels like a small experiment. And some days I'm still just figuring out the lights. And other days, storytelling. And other days is finding my voice. And maybe one day I'll look back and just laugh and be like, wow, that was rough. That's the view. That's the vision anyway. Because it's that part that actually matters. The version of the story that still feels uncertain. Do you know what I mean? But the intention is clear. It's to learn, to build, to grow in public, like just in public. And then there's the bigger picture. I just don't want to make videos. I want to build things that align with my target, which is that whole thing around your sweet spot, right? What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and how to kind of like sustain yourself long term. All that's still blurry, but I'm building in public, and I'll share the process as I go along. So yeah, from 0 to 7 subscribers, that's where I am. It's not glamorous. It's real. You can do that too. Just hit freaking record, man. That's the pain barrier you got to get through to really start to see how to actually do this, and how it sort of all basically unfolds. You might look at this and think, oh, after a few videos, this looking like that. Yes, it is, and that's because I hit record. And for me, I'm very pleased. It's not where I want it to be. I'm very pleased. So forget the expensive gear. Just learn the fundamentals. They are very critical, because if you do not learn tool, then you don't know how to ask the right questions in order for you to fix how I position the camera, how do I set the right ISOs, how do I capture the right position, what recording format do I use. Those things help you set the baseline for how to actually start recording before you even get to the point where you start talking about stories. If you try to do all of that in one go, which I did, you would go around in circles. And maybe as part of this, one of my B-rolls is I'll add, if I haven't already done that, sort of what one of my first videos actually looked like. But nonetheless, if you stayed this long to the video, thank you. Appreciate that. Other than that, stay blessed. Until next take. Peace.